And then this whole thing happened. So we were able to develop something for them. And these are underprivileged kids, so no access to the internet as well. So yeah, I might be able to share like what we're doing because it's working pretty well. We're on our 3rd week now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi, Pokrash.
Hello, Pukraj.
Hello.
Hello.
There are 27 people already here, which is crazy. But thank you everyone for joining. Saku is here as well now.
Saku's got some audio.
Oh,
Hello, Pukraj. Good day. Hello, everyone.
Vivian.
Hello,
Nice
everyone. Hi.
you guys.
Anyway, we're a lot.
We're expecting a full house. So at some point, we have to figure out how to manage to get everyone to share. So we have some things sorted, but I mean, we still have 4 minutes.
Ooh.
You guys can keep chatting. I will share the presentation already. So people, have something to do if they're not speaking. But you guys continue your discussion. We'll start in like 4 minutes.
Saku, is that wallpaper behind you? Is that a real bookshelf?
It is wallpaper and mostly the cover. Haven't been reading any of those, so it's everything is fake. By the way, Derek, do you know, Derek, what happened with Australia? We were roughly about 3 hours away from boarding, and we were sitting in a sofa thinking, is that should we go or should we not go? And if it would have been 1 day before, we would have gone. But that was the day when everything started to kind of like collapse.
Yeah.
So luckily we didn't go.
Well, Saku, if you hadn't gone, I still would have got on a plane and come and had dinner with you over in Melbourne.
Exactly. And answered, but it's how is life in Australia?
Yes, it's good. I was just chatting to some of the others. Yes, it's we're handling it okay. Schools are currently by the government still open, but mainly a lot of remote learning. And we're just about to go into our first set of school holidays. So it's, April school holidays. So most of the schools are shutting down for holidays, which gives teachers a bit of a breather too as they ramp up.
Yeah. But are all the schools closed, or some of them are still open, or what is the?
All the schools are technically open. However, teachers and schools need to be there for essential workers, kids. So generally, there's about 5 to 10% of kids in schools right now for the states that are open, because Victoria, New South Wales gone on school holidays, but Queensland's still. And then people are then working in remote learning and doing a number of things like that at the moment. So so who knows what happens after these 2 weeks break. It might continue like that in Australia.
In Finland, we have all the schools are closed and have been closed for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So there's a bit of remote learning happening in Finland?
Yeah, there is, but I'd say that it's like I think in each and every place in the world, it's very uneven. So there are schools and areas in which everything is actually quite exciting and working well. And then there are areas in which it's a bit more messy and so on. So it's complicated to and manage. It's been so fast and so on. The government and the national agency have been trying to give advice and so on. But in Finland also, like in Australia, it's difficult because we are giving a lot of freedom. We are giving a lot of independence, which is great. But in these situations, there's pros and cons.
Yeah, no, that's right. Wow. Paul Courage, are you recording this for tonight? Oh, sorry, you got no sound.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we are recording, and I think it's been recording since the first person joined, so it's going to be even longer. But yeah, I will share a lot of resources at the end of the call. So this is going to be a full packed 2 hours. We already have.
Oh goodness! You wouldn't have heard my earlier jokes. No.
Oh. Yeah, but maybe we can finish it earlier. So we'll see. It's going to be.
Can I share a quick Zoom tip for everybody?
Yeah.
So if you have your mute button on and you hit your space bar and hold it, it will unmute you until you let go of your space bar. So it's a much easier way to unmute if you want to say something.
It's great.
All right, thank
Hey,
you.
Lisa, I've heard that a few times today, and I'm a Zoom user from way back, but I've never known about. And people have told me that a few times today. Did that come out? Did that get pushed around the world or something, that hint again? Because I thought that was very groovy.
Yeah, I had not heard of that before as well, but we're all learning, which is great. Let's see, we have 82 people, 83. I will wait maybe one more minute. And at least until then, what I would love for everyone to do is mute your mics, just because it will get extremely noisy if all 84 of us are speaking at the same time. And I don't know if this works well on the phone. If not, you can ignore the next instruction. But if you're on a laptop, I would love for you to click on the participants button in the bottom toolbar, find your name and try to rename yourself. We would love to only have your first name visible along with your organization name and country. So I'm going to do that for myself. Right now, my name is full, which is Pukhraj Ranjan, but I'm going to change it to Pukhraj, HundrED, Finland. So we'd love to see at least the ones who are on the computer to try and change your name to your name, company name. And if you don't have a company name, ignore that. And country, because it'll be super amazing to see where the 93 participants are from. So I'm already seeing Pakistan, Kenya, Hong Kong, US, Scotland, UK, Portugal, Australia, Malaysia, Netherlands. Ah, this is amazing. All right, and the ones who can't, it's okay, but it's really nice to see the number of people from around the world who have joined us today. We've been working incredibly hard to make this a good resource for all of you, so hope you will enjoy the next 2 hours with us. And if you're interested in finding out at least who are on the call with us, make sure you look at the participants list. At this point, we are 102 people. So I'm going to maybe start us off. So thank you everyone for joining. I think around the world, this is the first time that we have a common crisis. The whole coronavirus pandemic has deeply impacted, kids, teachers, parents, families, education systems. Literally all stakeholders have been deeply impacted by this pandemic. I was recently reading an OECD report which said that 1.54 billion children and youth have been deeply affected, and their education has been deeply affected. And as of 31st March, there are 185 countries around the world who have closed down their schools and universities. This has been a statistic that has really bothered us on the 100 team, purely because we do work with so many amazing innovators and educators in education. And we've also been listening to the needs of our community members. And because of that, we were able to start this spotlight. Generally, our spotlights last 6 to 9 months. This one we've managed to pull this off in 10 days. So we hope that you will find lots of useful tools, resources in the slides as we share them. But to kind of ground ourselves into the need, it was essentially from the place where we wanted to find and share resources, tools, tips that really work. And we wanted to highlight impactful homeschooling and online learning resources that not only support student learning, education, but also their well-being, because from a lot of the readings, articles, and resources that have come out recently, social distancing hasn't proved to be useful when it comes to looking at our own, social relationships, our well-being, our connections. So how do we support that for our students, for our teachers, as well as parents. So that's how we started. We had a need, we had a goal. And in the last 10 days, we have been able to receive a lot of really innovative solutions. So in this call, the way we would want to ground ourselves is in the first half, we will deep dive into what is working, what is not working. We would love to hear from you all, get your insights, as you already heard. We're now 117 participants from around the world. There's a lot of challenges and opportunities that you have been facing in your day-to-day work with remote learning, with e-learning, and we would love to hear from you. In the second half, we will share the selected solutions that we have selected for our COVID-19 spotlight, and we will try to define a collective impact, because I think it would be super powerful given that we all are facing the same challenges. With that, our team is all here on the call. We have never before had 100+ people join on a Zoom call. So we're kind of frazzled as well. We don't know if this will go as we planned. So please be flexible. Please let us know if something is going wrong. Different people from our team are playing different roles. Lasse, who's our executive director, if you can, Lasse, wave. I can't really see you, but maybe other people can. He will be our tech host. So if you have any difficulties, any technical challenges, you can send him a private message on the chat. We have Romaine. Romaine, please wave. She'll be keeping us on time because there are a lot of people. So we would want to not take more time than we initially planned. We have different team members who will also be coming on to the call and sharing their piece, sharing their insights about the work that we've been able to do in the last 10 days. So to start us off, I would actually stop sharing my screen and invite Lasse Lepiniemi, who's our executive director, to show a video that we have created for the work that we've been doing in the last 10 days. Lasse, I hope you're here. There are too many people.
Yes, I'm here and I'm so pleased to see so many people joining the call. So I'm happy to share you the video which we received literally 15 minutes before the call to showcase a little bit of the work we have been putting together during the last 2 weeks. So please enjoy.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created immediate and unprecedented challenges in education. Excellence and equity, cornerstones of good education systems, are being challenged in every part of the world. Our greatest concern is that differences in parental involvement and access to technology will exacerbate inequality. At the same time, as in every major challenge, this is an opportunity to adapt. And as important as continuing quality education is, it is just as important to maintain mental and physical well-being for students and parents. People all over the world are even turning this situation into a chance to connect. There are areas for individuals as well as educators to reflect on how to improve. For this unique spotlight, we have researched hundreds of examples, both big and small, on how to help children learn in these extreme times. Our goal is not to provide one recommendation to solve all problems, but rather solutions for different types of challenges around education during this crisis. Everything has happened so fast and unexpectedly. It does not seem realistic that there's a holistic solution that is easy to implement and works for everyone. However, inspiring individual solutions have been developed in every country, and perhaps we can even combine these different approaches to create a new and impactful education for students around the world.
All right. And with that, I would like to invite Saku Tuominen, who's our founder, to kind of share the journey we've been on in the last few days and few weeks, actually. Saku?
Thank you, Books, and hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to see so many of you in these difficult times. Books said that I'm going to be explaining what we've been through during the past 2 weeks or 10 days, but I thought that I start a bit earlier and then go back time roughly about 5 years. When we decided to found HundrED 5 years ago, our mission was to help each and every child flourish in life through identifying impactful innovations and helping them spread. And on the side, create a global community of education forerunners who are excited about the change and who have optimism and drive to make the change happen. And I think that actually this starting point or the mission we had 5 years ago has not changed at all. So we are still on exactly the same place. And when I'm analyzing our trip so far, and try to give you a couple of key insights or key findings. One of them has been that there is no lack of solutions or innovations or bright spots or people who are doing beautiful things. We have yet to find a country or a state where beautiful things are not happening, and so on. So there's practically no lack of solutions, but the key problems or challenges are elsewhere. How to implement these innovations, how to make them spread, how to implement them well, how to implement them in a way that we are not messing up the system, how to keep each and everyone on board, how to create a co-development process that is long-lasting, and so on. So we've been trying to move from only identifying innovations towards implementation as well, and we think that the biggest challenges are actually on that side. And this has been, as tragic as this is, the whole COVID-19 corona, it has also been an interesting learning experience for us, because it's almost like a laboratory of all the insights we've been getting, and everything is happening extremely fast. It's happening on a big scale globally in each and every continent. So now that we've been following for the past 2-3 weeks the COVID situation in education systems all over the world, I think that it's proving the point that we were having before COVID, meaning that ideas are plenty. There's a lot of resources, there's a lot of resource pages, there's a lot of innovations that could be extremely useful in each and every country of the world, and so on. But are they spreading? Are they implemented well? How do you keep each and every person on board, and so on? And I think that the key challenges are actually on the implementation side. How do you implement them in a way that excellence and equity are not being challenged? How do you implement them in families where parents are not excited at all? How do you implement them when there are no technical tools and so forth? So the challenges are exactly the same also in crises like this. But also another insight has been is that there is a genuine global community that is willing to cooperate. So when I'm analyzing what is happening between governments, I see extremely little cooperation. We have yet to find 2 governments or 3 governments who are deciding to invest together in trying to come up something brilliant and so on. So that is not happening. All the global cooperation is happening on a grassroots level, where this call, for example, is a good example. So when we decided to drop everything we do 2 weeks ago and concentrate only on this spotlight for the time being, we didn't have a goal that we are finding one holistic solution that will solve all the problems during this COVID situation. What we decided to do is that we decided to try to find something that is quite easy to comprehend, that is quite easy to implement, that could be inspiring and useful in many countries all over the world. And instead of looking for 10 innovations, what we've been looking for is that we've been going through dozens of resource toolkits and resource pages, and we've been selecting the ones we are most excited about. We've been going through high quality services, big services that we are excited about. We've been identifying and analyzing scalable innovations that could be useful. And we've been also going through inspiring big ideas that might be difficult to implement as such, but that might be giving ideas. And today we are showcasing the things we have found. And we are fully aware that it won't be easy to make them spread. In some of the places where there's a lot of excitement happening already, implementing them or trying them at least might be a possibility. But also we want to take this experiment and spotlight also as a learning experience for us about why do some innovations spread and why some don't. So we want to be analyzing also the usage of the tools that we are trying to spread, which will be interesting as well. But when we are talking about the future of education and the purpose of education in general, quite often we are mentioning things like it's all about growth mindset, it's all about coping with uncertainty, it's about tolerating mistakes, it's about love of learning, and so on. And if you're analyzing what is happening as we speak in all over the world, in each and every school, in each and every family, that's exactly what we are talking about. There's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of frustration. We don't know what works, what doesn't work. And I think that one way to be approaching all of this would be, we understand that it's tragic and it's complicated and no one knows what happens, but there's also a silver lining on this one. And we can see this also as a massive learning experience. And hopefully we can learn something which is really valuable also in the long term. So for us, it's really exciting to do this, and it's really exciting to be having this kind of call, because for us, it's all about optimism and it's all about helping each other. It's being open, having genuine curiosity and so on. So that's the key thing we want to be promoting in times like these. So with these words, I'm excited to have all of you here and take good care of yourself, good care of your families, and also let's try to kind of like make the best out of this one and take this as a massive learning experience as well.
Thank you, Saku, for those kind words. Yeah, and just something that I think Saku forgot to say as well, and I forgot to say, is that we've been very lucky to be partnering with OECD on this report. And in this entire study, we even, like in the last few days, we've had the pleasure to work with Andreas, who echoed what Saku just said. The need for us to really invest in student, teacher, parent relationships, invest in international collaboration, as well as supporting our teachers to be more entrepreneurial, have more freedom, and have the support that will help them in this time. With that, what we wanted to do next was to hear your voice. It is incredibly hard to manage that when we have, I don't know how many people we have now on the call. We have 133 people on the call. So what we have done is that we have shared a Google form where we would like you to take 10 minutes to fill it up as of this moment. Danny, while we share the link in the chat box, can you share a little bit on what kind of questions are there and what are we trying to understand from this form. And for those who don't know, Danny is our head of impacted growth at HundrED. Danny?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. So we just thought while we have you all as a captive audience here, we would try to get a little bit of data and some insights from you all. You know, as Pukraj mentioned, very humbled and unique to have so many different community members from different countries here. And as Sakvi mentioned, there's a lot of challenges with cooperating across governments and even understanding on a global scale, you know, what the challenges are, and then, you know, what the solutions are and what we can share. So there's a few data based or numeric responses, and then on some free responses where we just love to get your thoughts on the questions, and feel free to kind of give open-ended responses as well or give additional feedback. This is not super structured, just trying to get some insights and data. So thanks for your help.
Yes, and I have shared a YouTube video link, which is for background music. It's exactly 10 minutes long. Since all of you are on mute, you should be able to play it while you fill out the form. And as the song ends, you know it's time for us to get back. So
and books before going into the video and the music and 10 minutes, I would love to stress is that we are releasing our report tomorrow at tomorrow noon Finnish time, tomorrow 3 o'clock Finnish time, and we will be collecting your opinions as part of the report as well. So things you are writing and so on, we are making some kind of resume of that feedback, and we are adding that one to the report as well.
Exactly. So now we will start the 10 minutes, and you can all open the link. It's on the chat box as well as the music if you want, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. If you have any questions, please write it in the chat box. We have maybe now 2 more minutes, so you should be getting done with the form. There are new people joining, so please mute yourself when you do, just so that everyone can focus. 2 more minutes.
Pukhraj, in case if anyone is unable to mute them, you can also mute them. So you have got this
Yes.
authority.
Yes, that's exactly what I've been doing.
Great.
Trying. Thank you. Okay, I would like for us to continue. If you haven't been able to finish the form, just keep it on an extra tab and you can finish it at the end of this call. But I can see from the chat room that a lot of people are slowly getting done. Thank you so much for sharing. Danny says that we already have 40 responses. We're hoping to get at least 100 so that we can add this into our report. So thank you again for sharing your voice. I would next like to invite Khatija and Chris, who are from our research team. They are the incredible people behind getting all the innovations, getting the solutions, and selecting them, and as well as the advisory process. So Chris or Khatija, I don't know which one of you would like to share your screen. They have a brief presentation for all of us.
Great, thank you, Pukhraj. It's an absolute pleasure to have everyone here, and this meeting is like a silver lining for us at HundrED. And yeah, it's a great privilege to be meeting you all. So I just want to introduce ourselves first. My name is Chris Petrie, and I'm the head of global research at HundrED, and I'm also joined by my colleague.
And I'm Khatija, and I'm a researcher at HundrED as well. And yeah, to echo Chris, just really excited to be here and see so many faces.
Fantastic. I'm just going to share my screen and hopefully this will work perfectly.
It works perfect.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So I just want to reiterate what Sakul just mentioned in the beginning, that this was not a traditional spotlight in the way that the time frame was weeks. Usually our spotlight process can be anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And we actually broadened the scope of what we're looking for. And we don't pretend that the solutions that we've highlighted can solve every problem. But hopefully they provide some inspiration and can actually contribute to some solving of some of those problems. And we're looking for solutions that educators can easily use tomorrow, and trying to cater for specific problems teachers, parents, and students face. And in fact, that's one of the key insights, I think, or key opportunities in this global situation for educators to form stronger bonds with the parents, because everyone can connect more easily. So one of the problems, for example, that we looked at was if the learner is unable to focus and has high levels of anxiety as a result of the situation. And as you'll see, we've actually grouped these into 4 groups. Traditionally in spotlights, we actually have around 5 to 15 innovations that we highlight, usually around 10. But in this situation, we had 4 groups. In this case, 10 scalable solutions, 10 global organizations, 6 great big ideas, and 6 great resource pages. So some of these you actually may know, but we've found that even these well-known ones like Khan Academy that you may know of, 80% of the time, they're actually never really used in the classroom or in the education system anyway. So we believe that they can be better utilized, especially in this circumstance. So I'll briefly introduce our research process, which was conducted in 5 stages. And there'll be more details of this process in our report, which will be released tomorrow. So the research on non-problems faced around the world was stage 1. For stage 2, we called for easy and impactful solutions from our large community, global community of educators. For stage 3, we were reviewing solutions for impact and scalability, our 2 key criteria. Stage 4, the HundrED Academy reviews the shortlisted of innovations to help us understand what will work in different contexts. And then stage 5, we package the innovations and publish the results. So we're about to start our first group, which was the 10 scalable solutions.
Great. So this collection are highly quality resources that we admire, and these global organizations continually provide relevant and engaging resources for students, teachers, and parents.
So first up addresses the problem of fake news and misinformation with the News Literacy Project based in the United States. So as part of a comprehensive effort to combat misinformation about COVID-19 and the new strain of the coronavirus that causes it, the News Literacy Project created a resource page to provide accurate information about the pandemic and free resources to educators and the general public. I'll just briefly mention that we're going to very briefly go over all the innovations that I introduced in the spotlight. So there'll be more information once the report comes out tomorrow.
So Duolingo makes it easy and exciting to learn a new language with their gamified language learning app and useful vocabulary. Teachers, parents, and students can feel confident discovering new words and sentences. And language learning is always a great way to connect with new people and gain a better understanding of new cultures.
Next, we have Go Noodle at Home, which is again based in the United States. So it's about good energy at home, and it offers movement, yoga, and mindfulness videos, downloadable curricular activities, recommended off-screen home activities, and basically about bringing movement and play and excitement to home learning.
And one thing to note as well is Pukraj has put in all the links of the innovation pages in the chat, so feel free to explore further there. The next innovation is Kahoot. It's a fun, sociable, interactive learning tool that creates an energetic environment virtually, a great way for teachers and students to maintain a relationship and connect and keep assessment going.
Next, we have Otsumo. It's democratizing access to special education and speech therapy through its leading game-based learning apps. It's based in Turkey. And there's some great information there that you can explore further about it.
OutSchool facilitates online group classes that are engaging and valuable through their ability to virtually connect students and teachers. The OutSchool's team and community of teachers have valuable expertise in this type of learning, having had 120,000 students attend more than 400,000 class hours.
Next, we have Pen Pal Schools, which is the largest collaborative learning community. Pen Pal Schools connects students from around the world to learn together. Students collaborate through online projects ranging from human rights and the environment to fake news and robotics, all while practicing literacy, technology, and social emotional skills.
School Day at Home is ensuring that the line of communication between teacher and student remains open during this time. It's available in English, Finnish, and Swedish. They are helping teachers support their students' well-being with simple questions. School Day at Home is making the quick change from in-person to online teaching more approachable by maintaining teacher-student relationships.
Next, we have Scratch, and Scratch engages millions of children around the world in coding and sharing projects to express their ideas and develop their creativity. It's a free creative coding platform and online community, and it's translated into 50+ languages and available both online and offline. There are hundreds of thousands of educators around the world who are using Scratch in and out of classrooms and across the curriculum.
And then Stories for Solidarity. All of the Global Oneness Project stories highlight our common humanity. Stories of Solidarity bring students, teachers, and parents together as we work towards a more tolerant and kind future.
And then we have our 10 global organizations.
So these organizations are always pushing the envelope and creating these great and dynamic content. So we'd like to, you may or may not know them already, but we'd like to highlight these following ones as well.
So first up is one many of you probably know, called Khan Academy, which is providing free world-class education to anyone, anywhere. The thing about Khan Academy is they've got a great response to this emergency situation with free webinars and really tailored solutions to this specific emergency situation.
And once again, Pukraj has put all the innovation pages in the chat box, so definitely check them out for more information. So the second one is Century Tech, and Century Tech has a COVID-19 school closure support courses that are perfect for home learning. They're offering a curated version of Century's English, math, science courses, covering all the key topics for years 3 to 11, and they really focus on personalized learning.
Next, we have Edmodo, which is a distance learning toolkit. Edmodo brings everyone in the education community together to help learners succeed. As the COVID-19 virus continues to spread and impact school communities, we want to do what we can to help. So teachers, students, and parents can use Edmodo to communicate and continue education always for free, even when in-person learning isn't possible.
Google Arts and Culture has the tools to offer rich discoveries and exploration for students, parents, and teachers alike. By providing quality, reliable, and interesting resources, students have the opportunity to explore arts and culture from around the world.
We've had Headspace for Kids, which is a global organization who want to help children to be healthy and happy, not just now, but for the rest of their lives. And teaching them about meditation early would help them to do that.
Minecraft Education offers challenges, which are a great way to engage students in creative problem solving and project-based learning.
We have National Geographic Education, which is kids are taught around the world and how it works, empowering them to succeed and make it a better place. National Geographic are helping to support learners and educators through curated collections of learning activities to implement at home. So it's by educators, for educators, parents, and caregivers.
Newsela is an instructional content platform that brings together engaging, accessible content with integrated assessments and insights to supercharge reading engagement and learning in every subject. They are now offering free access to Newsela's entire product suite for the rest of the 2019-2020 school year.
We have Read Theory. Read Theory is an online reading comprehension tool designed to help students improve their reading comprehension skills in a fun way that keeps them attentive and motivated.
And TED-Ed at Home. So in addition to well-curated educational videos, TED-Ed's flexible curriculum can be taken into different settings, including after-school programs as part of another youth-led program or by individual students as they develop their own ideas. Their Student Talks program also creates a space where a global network of passionate students can connect via video calls and build on each other's ideas.
Next, we have 6 big ideas.
So this third group are bold ideas to be inspired by. These ideas do need extra time and effort, but are already proving to be effective and scalable, and are definitely still worth considering.
So first we have the idea of bringing communities together. So kindness and community spirit prevails. The following movements show that, when we highlight them, despite the circumstances, morale remains high and students, teachers and parents alike are coming together to support one another regardless of physical distance. From art displays and windows to no contacts scavenger hunts, these activities highlight that we're in this together and help keep up the good spirit. So there will be a bunch of featured innovations or featured initiatives under each of these categories when you see the report.
So broadcasting nationwide, governments and organizations around the world are finding innovative ways to ensure that quality education for all students is being met, regardless of their access to technology and living situation. From a news channel in China that airs educational lessons, a radio show in Kenya and Pakistan accessing children in remote locations, to India, where cell phones are used to connect with parents. These bold ideas are here to inspire ministries of education and organizations with a large reach.
So next we have businesses helping to meet education needs. So in Helsinki, in Finland, a computer for everyone, and kaikille kone, and I'm going to be, I'll try to get better at my Finnish pronunciation, is donating computers to students in need. The aim of the campaign is to provide equal possibility for every student to access online and distance learning solutions by providing donated computers for students in need.
Educating educators for the future. So the education landscape has experienced a huge shift in relation to mindset, priorities, physical and social learning, connectivity, online technology. The list really does go on. So some of the initiatives like Learning Creative Learning, pop-up PLNs, and Love for Computers are helping educators tackle the present needs as well as forge solutions for the future of education.
Next, we have a bold idea where politicians address students, and that's been featured in Norway and New Zealand. And so governments have been holding press conferences on the coronavirus exclusively for children. So they were held by the Prime Minister in Norway and the Prime Minister in New Zealand to answer questions and concerns of children during this uncertain time.
And virtually connecting with the world. So social distancing doesn't have to mean social disconnecting. Educators, families, and students around the world are using the medium of online meeting platforms to connect, share, and learn about each other's lives, cultures, and desires. Easy to use ideas are Love for the Elderly, where you write handwritten letters to seniors' homes, and Link Online Learners, which we'll find a little bit more about later in this call.
One of the things we did was highlight a bunch of resource pages, and I think, Khadija, you're going to briefly.
Yes, I'll just briefly mention. So throughout our research process, we've come across many different resources that offer tools to support one another, whether you're a student, parent, or teacher. We've compiled 10 in this slide with more information in the report. Some of them are quite well known for us in the community, although a majority are still not being used and are extremely useful and practical. Our reasoning behind highlighting these 10 are to focus on ones that are inspiring, motivating, and offer simple and effective solutions you can implement immediately. So the ones we have here are Emerson Collective, EdSurge guides, UNESCO distance learning solutions, the Learning Network's coronavirus resource page for students, Distance Learning Resource Center, Top Remote Learning Solutions, the National Board for Teaching Standards, free apps and resources to support distance learning in schools, Wide Open School, and Grammy Music Education resources. So if you're unfamiliar, want to know more, definitely check out the report and those links for more information.
So I'll just briefly end by some concluding remarks. Hopefully you're feeling inspired and not overwhelmed there's a lot out there, admittedly, and it's not a case of trying to use them all, but using or thinking about some in the way that you can potentially solve some sort of problem within your context. But there's some things to remember before you start to increase your anxiety about how you might go about implementing some of these. And just remembering that in most schools, students are tightly monitored with a rigid system that is set up to control most of their activities. So with this in mind, a question that comes to my mind is, how do the diverse range of young people at home today suddenly learn to take control of their own learning with that huge diverse range of students and learning needs? So fortunately, there are established solutions like we've seen, like Khan Academy, that have many well-known and have proven impact on scalability. However, the mental and emotional shift in this time for teachers, parents, and students is absolutely massive. I cannot emphasize that enough. So while educators scramble to set up home schools, it is necessary to realize that a stressed mental state is not productive to teach and learn. Educators, parents, and students, as well as everyone else, need to focus first on adjusting to new healthy routines and environments, which will take time to develop. With little assurance when this emergency homeschooling will end at this stage, we should take the time we need for our safety and well-being first and foremost. And in the report, we've outlined a number of really great positive opportunities and emerging challenges. One of the biggest problems that we've seen is that there's little understanding for regions which struggle to have a reliable internet connection as well as access to digital devices. We have little understanding of what will work in that situation, how they're dealing with it currently. So we're looking to improve our understanding moving forward. But we're also looking to take advantage of the great opportunities that are enabled through this situation, like, for instance, educators being able to form stronger connections with the parents. But I just want to always come back to that, to the first principle that we should take our safety and well-being in mind first and foremost. And with that, I'll hold it. I want to thank everyone for listening to us, and hopefully you went away inspired, and have a good rest of your talk.
Thank you, Chris. So I can see already on the chat that people have a lot to share, and there's a lot of ideas that are going about. So thank you. Please keep doing that. We will be saving the chat and looking at the additional resources that you are putting up on the chat. You can find everything on the COVID-19 Spotlight page. I've just dropped the link for that. We're nearly halfway through, but I can see that it has been a lot. So there's a lot of listening. So what I'll do now is guide you through a quick breathing activity. It requires you to stand up. So just to get a small little energizer, just stand up next to your computer. If this is too awkward, you can close your camera. But we will take 3 deep breaths in. At least the 100 team should stand up. Saku, stand up. All right, so what we're doing is we're going to put our hands in front of us. And then when you breathe in, you have to put your hand up, breathe in, close your eyes, hold, and then breathe out, back down. Okay, we'll do it 5 times. Let's start. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Now turn to your right, do it that way. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Turn back. Hope everyone's doing it. Turn back, perfect. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Turn to your, I don't even know, the other direction, left. Again, breathe in, hold, breathe out. And last one. I don't know what the number is, but now that we're facing, one more time. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. And now give yourself a high five. Perfect. Okay, I hope that energized everybody a little bit. Can't believe 119 people around the world took 5 breaths together. Now,
can I make one brief comment? Yeah. Thank you everyone, and also following the activity on the discussion board on the chat. There's a couple of people making remarks that there are a lot of areas in the world where there's no connectivity, there's no laptops, there's no connection, and so on. And we are fully aware of that one. Within the time frame of 10 days, we were really struggling to find scalable, good examples of these, because we all know that is massively challenging. One example has been using, like we mentioned, using broadcasting, using TV channels, using radio, and so on. But please feel free to give us ideas if you find something on these areas. And we are more than happy to be even compiling new collection of ideas like this, for example, during the next week and so on. This is not kind of like the final version of the Spotlight. We will be improving it throughout the crisis.
Absolutely. Thank you, Saku. And just to again reiterate, like, community voice is really important for us. We wouldn't have been able to get 102 submissions in a span of 7 days if it weren't for you, all of you. There are a lot of people in this room who have shared their best practices. So again, thank you so much, and keep doing that. It's not about being selected, it's more about sharing and working together. So now that I kind of brought up community voice, we will hear from 2 presenters who have been selected in the selection that Chris and Khatija just shared. One of them is Sampo Lokki from Finland. He will be representing School Day at Home. And then we have, I think, Lene from Denmark and Lisa from US will be representing Link Online Learners. They both will, like, both the presenters will speak for 5 minutes, and after the 10 minutes are over, we'll spend maybe 5 more minutes for question answers. So while they're speaking, please don't unmute yourself. If you have a question, just leave it in the chat. And when they both are done presenting, I will be happy to ask your questions to both the presenters. So with that said, there's so many people. I hope Sampo is here from School Day at Home.
Yes.
Perfect. Sampo, take us through what you've been up to.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Pukra. Thank you, Saku, Lasse, the whole team of HundrED for this amazing opportunity for bringing everybody together, bringing all these amazing innovations together. This is a huge opportunity for every one of us, and then the only way to survive this crisis is to do it together, to share everything that we have and own. I'd like to tell you about a little bit about our solution. I'm going to share my screen, so I hope that this will be now. on. So are you seeing my PowerPoint presentation now?
Yes, we can see it.
Good, good. School day is all about student well-being and social emotional skills development. We have a full model which is based on the research of school well-being, 30 years of school well-being in Finland in schools. And from that, now with this crisis and with this situation, we wanted to understand what happens, how the students are feeling at home. So we changed a little bit of our basic idea, and then we now target the questions, target the whole research on how the students are doing real time at home while studying remotely without them, the teachers being able to see them and being able to guide them face to face. And these are the categories we selected for the school day at home model. So we are focusing on social emotional skills, social relationships, well-being, and learning. And I'm going to show you just now how we do that. So this is basically the background of our model. We have this, the whole of our solutions is working on web, on mobile app, and also we are integrated in Microsoft Teams. So whatever platform, whatever solutions you are using with your students while teaching them remotely, you'll be able to use our software and solutions. What we do, this is the student view now, and the students are basically, what we want from the students is 30 seconds of the day, 30 seconds to a minute. And what they do is that they answer questions, and all these questions are related to the model I've just shown you. And the answer scale is 1 to 5. So every day when the students, when they begin their day, they get instructions from the teachers what to do today, what are the instructions for the remote learning day and experience. Then first they will tell them their well-being, and they share their feelings about that day. So quickly, you see all these questions are so related to those indicators that we want to show the teacher. So we are basically just, everything is anonymous. So we are creating data for teachers just for them to understand how their students are feeling at home. So when they've answered the questions, then we have a channel for students where we give them tips and for them to understand different and the meaning of well-being. Why is it important to share that, and maybe give them some kind of idea how to improve your own well-being. We also have AI-driven analysis where we give them feedback based on their classes answers. So for example, this is an AI-driven feedback for the students. We always give them only positive feedback. We want to encourage them in the well-being in their studying, learning at home. So this is basically very simple, very useful students to reply every day, and with that we gather a huge amount of information. I'm going to show you what the teachers would then be able to see. So teachers and principals, they can choose whether they want to check the whole school data, but as we are now talking and we are helping for teachers, we only and we provide them their own classroom data. So this is the demo data, of course. Now we have 4 areas and 4 categories. We have learning, as I explained, and then we also provide them phenomenon cards, and these cards are AI generated cards based on the results and then the answers from the teachers, from the student questionnaires. So for example, now these the data shows that your students would like to get more help more often. So then you can flip the card. So the cards are always generated automatically, and as a teacher you can just flip the card and there would be some kind of instructions how to address this with your students, what to do with this information. If you're more interested and you are as a teacher you can go and dig deeper. These are the key indicators now for the student well-being and social emotional skills. And you can see that with this demo data, learning is actually quite good. Social emotional skills is actually, and this is always from 0 to 100, and these are weighted averages. So these indicators will always show if there is something of concern, something you should take into consideration when you are about to discuss with your students and give them more instructions on their well-being. If I just go and dig deeper, learning, and that comes from the model in learning category, there are 4 indicators which would be shown here, and then you can see the general data that's been gathered from that indicator. And if you click one more layer, you would see the questions we ask from students. So for example, there would be, and all these questions are sort of what we did is that we have these questions we formatted with teachers, and we've also used university research backing this up. So for example, now I'm able to finish all my assignments. If I open that question, I would see that these are the answers of that class. And as I mentioned, these are all anonymous, so you won't be able to check which student have answered which. That way we do not compromise the data, but we also get them answered truthfully. And this is what we encourage the students to do, is that we encourage them to give their own feeling about this is their own perception of their ability to finish all the assignments. This is the answer scale, so you can see how many students have answered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is how sort of the whole data has been collected and analyzed. So for teachers, this is very important. For example, as a teacher, I would say, okay, almost 40% would think that they have troubles finishing their assignments. As a teacher, I would then say, give them maybe more instructions, maybe talk to them, maybe send them messages asking how do they feel, what do they do with the assignments, and so on. So giving, yeah.
Sampo, sorry, just like 1 more minute. Just wanted
yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. So this is basically, and with so this is learning part, and then I can take another example of, for example, social relationships. We don't see the students, we cannot understand what they are doing, how they are feeling at home. So we can now check the answers and see, for example, communication with peers. Do they have friends? Would they like to study more in groups and stuff like that? So it's easy to work with my classmates. For that, again, more information to teachers. These are the week numbers, so you can see the trend, how this sort of area has developed amongst the students. You can take 2 weeks where you see the different dates have been difficult or not. And you can also see the trend for 3 months if that's possible. Obviously, with this situation now, we are only starting. We might have this for 1 to 2 or 3 months as we speak.
All right.
So this is basically how teachers can understand and find those issues that are concerning their students when they are studying remotely, when there is no face-to-face interaction, and that way the students can also express their feelings, and there's a student voice in the planning and the pedagogical solutions for teachers when they are planning their teaching remotely.
Thanks, Sampo. This was great. And there are quite a bunch of questions on the chat room, but I see that your colleague, Mika, I think, is answering as well. So we will hold off the questions, but I'll invite now Lisa and Lene to come and share a little bit about Link Online Learners. I know I can see people are slowly leaving, but I would encourage you to stay right after the Link Online Learners presentation, which should be 5 to 6 minutes. We will break into small groups and have a breakout discussion, and we really would love to hear from you. So I urge everyone to stay on the call. We should be able to finish it before 3 p.m. so it won't be full 2 hours. So on that note, I hope all of you can stay with us till the end. But yes, thank you, Sampo. And I would like to call Lisa and Lene.
Hi, thank you, Pux. Lisa, are you there?
I'm here.
Good, good, because you have our presentation to share in just a minute. And thank you, everybody at HundrED, for putting all of this together for us, that everybody can be inspired by. It's a tragic situation, but it's also a great opportunity to reimagine how we go about education and what we can learn from this. And we have a little story to share, representing a whole big group of people who are part of this. Yep, here we go. Let's see. And I'm gonna start out just introducing the story through a set of milestones, and Lisa will continue and talk a little bit about where we are at right now.
If we can get it to load.
Yeah.
Here, let's see if I can refresh this.
That's good.
There we go.
Here we go. Yep. So yeah, if you could go back like one slide there, Lisa, or two. I think it's sort of in the middle of things here. Just the little arrows on the bottom of the page. If you just press present.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I'm in present mode.
The challenge of collaborating.
Yeah, right. And we put this together in different time zones. Well, I'm in present mode, so it's.
All right, then just use the arrows at the bottom of the page to, if you just press the one to the right, and we will move to the first one.
Yes, hold on one moment. Of course, I can't see the arrow.
And thank you all for having patience with us here. I'm sure
Yeah, I don't see. Do you want to just start with the March 11th dinner?
Yeah, I could. Okay. Maybe you just click it. Yeah, good. Here we go. So yeah, I just wanted to start just like 3 weeks ago, I was having dinner with Jeff, who's from Liger, and many of you may know him. He's also one of our, he's in the HundrED community. We were having dinner, actually preparing to go about our daily lives, more or less, sharing the story of Liger in Cambodia with schools here in Denmark. And while we were, during this meal, a notification popped up. You can press the link now, or click it, Lisa, the next one, just the arrow, yes. And our prime minister in Denmark had decided to close all schools and actually also close the borders of our country. And this was happening all over the place, as you all know. And we immediately started talking about how will this affect children, that their lives are changing in a split second and they will now be isolated behind screens. And what could we do to help that situation? And we also talked about how this could also be an amazing opportunity to actually create a global platform for kids to get to know each other and to build global citizenship and empathy, and to be able to do things that they were otherwise not really doing. You can click, Lisa.
Yeah.
I think.
Trying to do too many things.
Yeah. Thank you. And actually the next day I had a meeting with a bunch of Danish educators talking about, could we put projects together, or how can we link up kids as the world is shutting down all around them? How can we link them up? And you just you click again, Lisa. And then I noticed a call that you, Lisa, had put out also. You could maybe share a little bit about that.
So I had just had a meeting with another ambassador from HundrED a couple days prior to our school shutdown, and we had a conversation about things that we were trying to do in education. But the most important part of the conversation was that we were exchanging what was happening in each other's countries. And I felt better having had that conversation with somebody in another country. And so I thought, well, we need to give this to kids too. We need to give them a space where they can also feel better, having connected with other people who are going through the same thing that they're going through around the world. So I just asked if anybody would be interested in putting together a Zoom room that we could get kids together and help them.
Thanks, Lisa. So actually, I think only 1 or 2 days later, a whole bunch of us met up on Zoom. You can see like 12 people at least. And a lot of you are also represented here. We had Hector, Jason, Jeff, Alex, Margot, Miracle, Nadia, HD, Peter, Joost, Fuchs, you were also there. And we had a meeting, and that was when the idea really like shaped up. And Link Online Learners, the idea of Link Online Learners was born, and I'll get back into what it is. But just a little like thing here, if you can see the bottom of the page, I shared it on LinkedIn just with my Danish educator community, that I don't think that kids have ever had this much in common across the globe and so much to talk about. And it really resonated with people out there. 5,000 views in no time. It just like speaks to, I think, a need and something we can do, which we should also do when this is over. You can click, Lisa. So actually, like 2 weeks ago, it's a little bit more than 2 weeks ago, we started, and just 10 days later, we had our name, we had a logo, we had the Facebook page up and running, we built a website, and we had our first pilot calls with young people volunteering to play with us and see how can we, what kind of format could this have and what would be interesting to them. It's just, I think it's a story of what's possible when we come together in powerful global collaboration, leveraging everybody's competencies and networks and capacities. We can really do amazing things in no time, and not least through the HundrED community, which has been a big part of this. Lisa, will you share where we are right now?
It's felt a little bit like a baton race. So one person goes to bed and the next person gets up in a different country and takes the baton and runs with it. So it's been really kind of, it feels like we've been doing this for so long, and it's only been like less than 2 weeks that we've been putting the organization together. So I wanted to include some pictures of some of our prototype calls. So here we are talking about what we eat for snacks around the world. And here we have a little collaborative doodle board that we start each one of our calls with, which is really kind of fun, asking a typical question, what did you snack on today? And you know, there's kimchi and Marmite and grapes and mangoes. It's just those simple things that we take for granted in our daily lives is different for different kids in different countries. And then here we are holding up, here's another photo of another group holding up their snacks. And I believe there's like 10 different countries that are represented here on the screen.
Sorry guys, I don't want to interrupt, but maybe
yes.
1 more minute.
Yes. And then here we are just talking about like, what time is it where you are? Even that is eye-opening for kids. And where we're going next with this, we're really looking at the safety of the students, looking at how do we get parent release forms easily, using Zoom safely. Students have expressed that they want groups based on interest, and letting the kids talk more and the adults talk less. So we're working on what we can do to foster that. We haven't opened up the chats yet to a wider audience. We've had about 120 kids in a group of about over 4 calls for our pilot program, and we can handle with our current staffing about triple that. And so we're just keeping it within our small network right now as we continue to iterate on, it's basically a prototype form right now. We have possibilities for celebrities. So if anyone has a contact for celebrities, and how do we vet people who want to help moderate, and things you can do tomorrow is get your students talking with one another so that they feel better. Sharing cultures across different boundaries. It could be country to country, but it could also be generational. What's different about grandparents versus students? What's different from one school to another in the same town, or even family to family. And if you are interested in finding out more or following what we're doing as it unfolds, we do, thanks to Lena, we have a linkonlinelearners.org website that has more information and frequently asked questions that are answered. And just really quickly, because Hector couldn't be here, I wanted to just share his 15-second video. He has to teach, so he wanted to share this.
Xin chào from Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm Hector Grimaldo, and I am an LOLer. During this less than ideal time, the world is in need of educators and innovations more than ever. Let's keep moving forward, find the opportunities in the situation, and keep on linking. See you online.
Love it. Thank you, Lisa and Lene. This was amazing. There are lots of questions for you as well, people who are interested in knowing more and connecting, as well as people who have resources on connecting pupils across culture from British Council, Daniela's message. So sadly don't have time for Q&A now, but I would let you kind of browse through the chat, and I will save the entire chat. So you can even look at people's names and contacts later. But thank you again. This is a great community example. I'm very proud that I can be part of it. And hopefully more and more people can join and host these calls, as well as try the other solutions that we have selected. So thank you so much. All right, now we're going to move on to the last part of our presentation today. And I know there are people who are leaving, but if you can, I would love for you to stay for the breakout discussion that we're going to do now. Can everyone see my screen? Can someone unmute and?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you. So what
we can see.
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. We're now around 88, 85 people. As I say, breakout discussion, people seem to be dropping, but hopefully the ones who will stay would love to hear your opinions on a question that we're all grappling with. And I see in the chat room as well, people are talking about how to take these back into our communities. So we will spend the next 15 minutes in smaller groups discussing ideas, brainstorming on how we can take these solutions, as well as the solutions we've already tried, to our school authorities, as well as teachers and parents. Before I share the leading questions, some instructions. We will share a Google Doc link in the chat room. You'll have to go there and take notes. In your Zoom rooms, please pick a primary note taker. If we have time, that person might also be asked to share to the larger group. Pick a timekeeper and take 5 minutes to introduce yourselves, because it's been very one way, but it would be nice for you guys to connect with each other as well. And then write down notes based on the questions that I'm sharing in the next slide. Take time to answer each sub question, and intentionally include all the people in your breakout rooms. So the question that we're going to be focusing on is, can the selected practices, as well as what you're sharing, help in our respective local communities? What are the potential obstacles in implementation, and how can we successfully take them to our school leaders and regional educational authorities? We've been grappling with this question because a lot of the innovations and solutions that are coming out in this time have been grassroots led. They have been led by teachers and educators and families, and we want to even think about top down and think about what can we take from to our school leaders and regional educational authorities and make it accessible to more kids in in one time. Has someone shared the link? Yes, Khatija has shared the link. If you open that link, everyone has edit rights. I will now break you out into 8 groups. Suddenly we have 70 people while I was talking. So 8 groups, you should have 8 to 10 people in each group, and you can discuss and write down your key thoughts on the note notepad that will also be included in the report one way or the other. It's really important that we get to hear your voice. 70 people is still a lot of people. So hope this is an engaging conversation for everyone. All right, so I'm gonna make 7 rooms, 70 participants, 10 people in each room. And you should have open rooms now. So please go on and I'll see you back in 15 minutes. Hi guys, do you see the invitation to join a breakout group? Just click on it and it should take you to a smaller room. Caesar, Mercedes, Maria, Yasmin, Rebel Fellow, Siddhant, Craig, Rajesh. Are you able to get the invite to join a room? Caesar, you can unmute yourself. We're not that many people.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I have to get out because I received a Skype call.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, if anyone who can join, it would be nice for you guys to go in and chat. We'll be spending 15 minutes and then we're going to close out anyway. So,
I don't have the link.
Interesting. Let me see.
And I just saw the email.
Oh yeah, wait, I can assign you. Okay, now?
Okay.
Craig, Siddhant, Maria, Rajesh, are you able to get any access?
Sorry, I don't have time this time, but I try to fill your questionnaire.
Oh, okay, no worries. So you guys can maybe just stay here. Yeah, absolutely. And the ones who can go to the calls, to the breakout rooms, feel free to do that. Or if you want to use this time to just fill out the form, you can do that as well. Don't worry. And yeah, I'm gonna close my video as well and just take a quick washroom break. And we will be coming back at in 10 more minutes. So we'll bring everyone back. So for 10 minutes, if you want to fill a form, if you want me to assign you to a room, just let me know. I don't know why some people are not able to exit, but all right. I will see you guys in 10 minutes.
I forgot it. Sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
There's a small problem with my connection. Can you just connect me to that Zoom room?
I think everyone's coming back now, so don't worry. We'll just hear this. We're gonna close out soon as well.
Oh,
no worries.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I think people have come back. All right. So we are the last 60 saviors who are still here. Thank you so much. I would love to hear maybe from two groups on what the conversation was. Anyone, maybe the note keeper from any of the groups, can unmute themselves and share what they were discussing.
I'm happy actually to take the lead on this for one of the groups that we had. So we were in Zoom room 3.
Perfect.
5, sorry, my bad, 5. So basically, what I felt in terms of the consensus about the selective practices that help in the community, it kind of depends on where everyone is. We had people in New York, Finland, and Nigeria, as well as Ukraine. And basically, some consensus was, depending on the communities, some do have access to technology and internet, and schools have been providing that to the students, while others, such as Nigeria, don't have access to that, and that is becoming quite a challenge with regards to that. Similarly, the challenges as well is with teachers and having the skills to be able to use the technology and being equipped with the skills for that seems to be something that everyone was talking about. There was also a consensus about the best way to approach school leaders. And although some have mentioned, yes, it is a good way to approach school leaders and the principals and authorities, some of the other input in the room was saying that perhaps we don't actually have time for those complex scenarios and bureaucracies, and we probably need to get through to the teachers to begin with, and find a way we get through someone that's driving it, someone that's able to get everyone on board, and just be quite consistent in our approach. And I think lastly, basically, sorry, I just completely lost the point. I believe there was, oh yes, the other thing was, we had a journalist from Nigeria, Prince, and he was saying most of these practices we were discussing were actually not viable, and they're not able to take them to school leaders or regional authorities to implement. So things will have to be taken via the media and that sort of thing. So it's just quite interesting to hear of all these different insights. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Noor. That was really insightful. And I think something at the office we've been talking a lot about is definitely how do we tap into public-private partnerships as well as media. Because I think the example from China is that within a month, they were able to create an educational channel through which they were able to reach out to students. And then even one of our innovators, Broadcast from Pakistan, are collaborating with the radio channels to reach students in remote areas. So definitely, we're not saying that we have answers to everything, but there's a lot of challenges, even once you have the resources, on how to take it to our children and families. So thank you for sharing that.
And exactly the same has been happening, for example, in countries like Ukraine. So there's a lot of examples of this one.
Perfect. Maybe one more group leader, whoever wants to share.
So Bart, if you can, share what we discussed.
Sure. So I think we try to put it into blocks of several areas. Number one is connectivity. That in the United States and I think around the world, what we're seeing is that there is certainly a lack of this equity issue. Some communities, some groups have the ability to be connected to the internet, and obviously this inability to connect and have connectivity is huge. Number two, certainly devices. And if school systems, I was a former superintendent of schools, my community where I lived, we had a one-on-one platform. All the children had iPads or this technology. it's making it much easier for us to push out information and to communicate with parents in the community. Without those devices of any kind, that's certainly going to be an obstacle that has to be overcome. And I do like the idea of having media, whether it's through radio or through television, support that. I also think that businesses and philanthropy need to put a bigger charge, but I think also governments have a role to play. Our government needs to come out and say, if this is a really important mission that we're going to serve and we're going to try to serve children, we need to do that. The other thing, the final point I'll make, and I think we were talking, well, 2 points. One was this idea of maybe creating project-based learning activities around curricula that is in the schools, so that kids and children will have an opportunity to work on these more project-based, longer-term examples. That was provided as an example. The other final thing is that schools need a specific defined learning management mechanism to push information out to kids. It can't, I mean, I don't care what platform you use, whether it's Google Docs or it's Canvas or if it's Schoology, some mechanism for information to be transmitted to and from parents. I think that, and students, that's really a critical piece of moving this out. Again, those were, again, everyone had some great ideas there, but real quickly, those were some things that we pulled.
Great, thank you. That's so wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much. And I mean, these are challenges that we understand in 15 minutes no one can solve. So this is just a starting point of the conversation, and we hope that we'll be able to connect with some of you and dive deeper into these challenges and see how we can collaborate together. So again, thank you so much for sharing. We're now coming to the closing part of our meeting. What we want to do now is for each one of us to think about an action statement, a commitment that we're making based on the discussions we've had. We spend a lot of time really grounding ourselves in our current realities, the opportunities and challenges in remote learning, e-learning methods. We filled out the form. We then went and looked at some of the solutions that the HundrED research team shared. We also heard from the innovators themselves. We then went into smaller groups and shared our ideas, our thoughts. And now it's time to make it more personal. So thinking about what is a commitment that you can make, I would ask you not to press enter till I say, so that we can suddenly have 59, 60 commitments in one go. So I will give you maybe 60 seconds to type it, think about one commitment. As a parent, what you're going to do to support your children, or as a teacher, your students, and how can you, as an educator, take these best practices to your local and global community so that all children have access to these amazing ideas and can continue learning in isolation. So take maybe now 50 seconds, and then when I say enter, you all can enter your commitment. Take 20 more seconds. I see people entering already. Just hold on. We're going to enter together. 20 more seconds. Saku has entered already. All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1, enter. Boom, boom, boom. Love it. I can't. This is amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much. I see a lot of comments on well-being, on community. People are opening their podcasts, connecting with families, sharing resources, opening up space to talk, connecting, linking online learners. amazing. This is incredible. I again want to share my deepest gratitude for everybody who joined this call and stuck with us for 2 hours. In the final parts of this conversation, some of our asks as the HundrED team is to share these best practices that we have selected, as well as the report that will go out tomorrow with your local networks and educator communities. You can tag HundrED on your tweets and Facebook posts. We will be sharing the recording, the presentation, the report to each and every one of you who was registered for the call. So you should have access to that. Something that we're also really wanting to do is grow our community. As you can see on this call, at some point there were 140 people, and we want to have global representation and global voice in the work that we do. So if you have ambassadors in your community who you think would be interested in seeking and sharing inspiring innovations, please ask them to become. If some of you are not ambassadors, I highly recommend to join our community in a more official way. And of course, I look forward to connecting with all of you on the Facebook community group, which is open to all, where we can continue discussions, as well as on the exclusive ambassador group, which is on Slack, where we work together to create projects. So Saku, Lasse, anyone from the HundrED team, do you have any additional closing thoughts for everyone here?
What I would love to say is that this is not the end. This is only like one more beginning to the work we do. So we are taking all your ideas, all the comments, all the insights into consideration, and we see this spotlight and everything we do as a dynamic thing, improving day after day.
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Raj, I just wanted to say before we end, can we all just collectively feel gratitude for the people who are at the forefront? Just closing our eyes, and if you want to lead it, fine, just for 1 minute. I think we owe that to all the people.
Yes, absolutely. And let's do that. Before we do that, very quickly, the ones who are interested in continuing the conversation, we have another webinar next week on 7th April with Andrea Schleicher, who's the director for OECD. So we will share information on that as well in the email that I send out tomorrow. And tonight we have an incredible HundrED ambassador, Nathan Strange, from Transcend and Fielding International, who will be doing a webinar at 4 p.m. GMT. So if any of you want to join, please, the link has been put in the chat box. But yeah, let's take 30 seconds to close our eyes and really, as Vishal said, feel gratitude for the people in the front line. Okay, thank you everyone again for coming together and sharing your time with us. As we close out, I would love for everyone to unmute themselves and say goodbye in their mother tongue.
Bye.
Moi moi.
Bye bye.
Adios.
Team
Moi moi moi.
Moi moi.
Goodbye.